Hello again, and welcome to my series on patching the generative Polykrell. So here once again is the quadrax, which is really in many ways the heart of the Krellberg side of this whole patch. The two middle channels, channel 2 and channel 3, are the channels that I'm using to drive the two polyphonic telharmonic voices. Now we're not listening to those voices at the moment, but the output, the Krell output voltages from the quadrax head up they head way up into an L1 quad VCA, and it's that VCA that is controlled by the clay sequencer opening and closing two of the VCA channels and then controlling the amount that Krell envelope, those two Krell envelopes, are able to affect the rest of the telharmonic voices. So then what I do is I take those two telharmonic Krell functions and I bring them into an IntelliGel UMod 2 ring modulator. But in fact, it is so much more. It can do all kinds of crazy things. It gives you all kinds of quadrant controls, and it lets you do things that are audio rate modulations, but not just ring modulation. So you can bring in the original two audio signals as well in different ways. But the other thing it does that really attracted me to it is there's a whole Christmas tree of modulation going on down here, and it takes these two incoming signals and it gives us some difference, minimum and maximum. And so what I'm doing is I'm coming out of the minimum here on the bottom. I'm headed off into a mult, and then from there I use that one signal and I send it over so I take that signal through the mult, and then I'm sending it to my two A141-4 polyphonic quad voltage controlled ADSRs, and that's what these little tiny CV pots are for. Is they basically let you attenuate incoming voltages to control attack, decay, sustain, and release. So in my case, I'm controlling attack, decay, on each of them respectfully, but in opposite ways. Now the first one of these ADSRs controls filter 1, which right now is set to be a bandpass filter and is passing a pulse oscillator whose pulse width is being modulated by the second ADSR. And then the second ADSR is being used to control the second filter, but also the amplifier that gives us our output. And we can see on the scope how these two envelopes are slowly being changed. Now what's interesting about this, and it pushes us into some really different territory in terms of Krells, is that the modulation stays in the same place, but it's modulating four different envelopes that are dovetailing. So everything kind of gets shifted at the same point in time, but it might be the attack of one envelope that's being altered while the decay is being altered on the other one. So it gives us kind of an oddball sounding kind of a thing, and I'll experiment with that to see how much of it I'm going to use in the finished piece. Well, I hope that you've liked what you've seen and heard so far in our crazy giant Polykrell. It's been a lot of work. I'm guessing now, having added in the Doepfer poly system, that we have blown our cable counter out of the water. And the reason is that when I originally put together the Doepfer poly system, it came in at about 130 patch cables just for it. And we were already pushing 300 patch cables on the original Polykrell patch on my main case in the room. So we've got a lot of cables going on here. So to help me afford all of these cables, I would certainly appreciate a like, a subscribe, and join up to my Patreon to help me make more videos and more strange music. Thank you so much, and we will see you next time.